Think Rich, Grow Rich, the book that changed the lives of millions around the world. Introduction. Imagine if one day someone told you that all great successes in the world begin with a thought. Would you believe it? I wouldn't. At least, not before reading this book. I used to think that to be rich, you need a lot of capital. To succeed, you need a lot of connections. To change your life, you need luck. But then I came across a man named Napoleon Hill. He spent over 20 years interviewing hundreds of entrepreneurs, inventors, and the most successful people in America. He wasn't looking for investment secrets. He wasn't looking for a formula for making money. He was only looking for the answer to one question. What makes some ordinary people achieve extraordinary things? The result of that journey is encapsulated in a book that has inspired tens of millions of readers worldwide. And after reading it, I realized perhaps the gap between us and success is not its circumstances, but in how we think. Chapter 1. Everything begins with desire. Napoleon Hill didn't say that money is the most important thing. He said, every achievement begins with an intense desire, not a vague wish. Not the statement, I hope to be rich someday, but a determination so strong that you are willing to pay any price to achieve it. I suddenly thought of Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before creating the electric light bulb. If his ambition hadn't been great enough, perhaps the whole world would have had to wait many more years to enter the age of enlightenment. Hill made me understand that successful people are no different from us in that they face fewer difficulties. They are different in that they don't give up when difficulties arise. Chapter 2. The brain is fertile land. There's an image in the book that I'll never forget. Hill compares the mind to a piece of land. If you sow seeds of belief, action, perseverance, then one day you will reap success. But if every day you only sow fear, doubt, and excuses, then they will grow too. The scariest thing is, the brain doesn't distinguish between good and bad. It only nourishes what you repeat most often. Chapter 3. Belief creates power. I used to think belief was just a mental concept, but Hill saw it in a very different way. He argued that belief is what turns thought into action. When you truly believe you can, you will do more. You will persevere more. You will be braver. That doesn't guarantee immediate success, but it changes how you react to failure. And sometimes, just not giving up is a huge advantage. Chapter 4. Nitrogen monoxide. One gets rich alone. Another lesson that changed my perspective. Hill said that behind every successful person, there is always a group of people working together. He called it the mastermind. These aren't just friends. They are people who share knowledge, encourage each other, challenge each other, and grow together. An ordinary idea, when it passes through many minds, it can become a great idea. Chapter 5. Failure is not the end. There's one thing I really like. Hill doesn't sugarcoat success. He says, failure will come. Sometimes you'll lose money. Sometimes you'll be rejected. Sometimes you'll be ridiculed. But many successful people have experienced that. The difference lies in how they view failure. They see it as a lesson, not a sentence. Chapter 6. The greatest enemy. Hill dedicates many pages to an enemy, not a rival, not a crisis, not poverty, but fear. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of losing money, fear of being laughed at. How many dreams have died, not because of a lack of ability, but because they were never even started? Chapter 7. Perseverance is the final test. Reading this far, I remember the stories of many entrepreneurs. Some went bankrupt many times. Some were rejected hundreds of times. Some took decades to gain recognition. Hill said, perseverance doesn't guarantee success, but a lack of perseverance almost certainly leads to failure. Success often comes right after many people decide to give up. Chapter 8. Wealth begins with how you see life. When reading the final chapters, I suddenly understood, perhaps this book isn't just about money. It's about responsibility, discipline, the ability to master your thoughts, and becoming a better version of yourself. Money is just the result. Conclusion and inspirational message. When I closed the book, I didn't instantly become a millionaire. My life didn't change overnight either. But one thing changed. I no longer asked, how can I make a lot of money? I started asking, what kind of person do I need to become to deserve bigger opportunities? Perhaps that's what Napoleon Hill wanted to convey. The rich are not only different in the amount of money they possess, they are different in how they think. They see difficulties as lessons. They see failures as stepping stones. They see time as an asset and view each day as an opportunity to get closer to your goal. If today you only remember one thing from this book, then remember this. Every great achievement begins with a thought, but only those who dare to turn that thought into action can change their lives. Maybe you don't have much money. Maybe you don't have big connections. Maybe you're still struggling to find your way, but don't let that make you believe you can't succeed. Because history has proven it many times. Many great people started from nothing. What they had wasn't money, but a belief strong enough to keep going when the whole world doubted them. Who knows, many years from now, when you look back on today, you'll realize the moment that changed your life wasn't the day you earned the most money. It's the day you decide to change the way you think. Because ultimately, true wealth doesn't begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. Please subscribe to the channel to listen to great books every day. Thank you.